Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. We ain't been on our book stuff, 48 Laws of Power. We doing Law 20. Do not commit to anyone. It is a fool who always rushes to take sides. Do not commit to any side or cause but yourself. By maintaining your independence, you become the master of others, playing people against one another, making them pursue you. I thought that was real good. This book is so good. So, Law 20 of the 48 Laws of Power, it advises maintaining independence by refusing to take sides, making you the masters of others as they vie for your attention. By staying aloof, you create desire and avoid becoming a pawn in other people's battles. Maintain independence. Avoid aligning with any specific cause or fraction except yourself. Be courted. When you do not commit, people will try to win you over, increasing your power and perceived value. Create mystery. Keeping your options open makes you harder to read and therefore more powerful. Avoid subjugation. Committing too quickly often means you become a follower than a leader. Example, Queen Elizabeth is a prime example. She maintained power by refusing to marry, keeping various suitors in limbo to serve her political goals. Isabella Este maneuvered through volatile European politics by not taking sides, allowing her to survive while allies failed. The goal is to keep yourself above the fray and make others depend on you, not the other way around. This strategy, however, should be used carefully to avoid seemingly completely untrustworthy or inspiring total disinterest. Okay, let's get into it. And this is a short chapter, so I like these. If you allow people to feel they possess you to any degree, you lose all power over them. By not committing your affections, they will only try harder to win you over. Stay aloof, and you gain the power that comes from their attention and frustrated desire. Play the virgin queen. Give them hope, but never satisfaction. I like that. When Queen Elizabeth ascended the throne of England in 1558, there was much to do about her finding a husband. The issue was debated in Parliament and was a main topic of conversation among Englishmen of all classes. They often disagreed as to whom she should marry, but everyone thought she should marry as soon as possible, for a queen must have a king and must bear heirs for the kingdom. The debates raged on for years. Meanwhile, the most handsome and eligible bachelors in the realm, Sir Robert Dudley, the Earl of Essex, Sir Walter Raleigh, vied for Elizabeth's hand. She did not discourage him, but she seemed to be in no hurry, and her hints as to which man might be her favorite often contradicted each other. In 1566, Parliament sent a delegation to Elizabeth urging her to marry before she was too old to bear children. She did not argue, nor did she discourage the delegation, but she remained a virgin nonetheless. The delicate game that Elizabeth played with her suitor slowly made her the subject of innumerable sexual fantasies and the object of cultish worship. The court physician Simon Forman used his diary to describe his dreams of deflowering her. Painters represented her as Diana and other goddesses. The poet Edmund Spenser and others wrote eulogies to the Virgin Queen. She was referred to as the world's empress, that virtuous Virgo who rules the world and sets stars in motion. In conversations with her, many male suitors would employ bold sexual innuendos, a dare that Elizabeth did not discourage. She did all she could to stir them in interest and simultaneously keep them at bay. Throughout Europe, kings and princes knew that a marriage with Elizabeth would seal an alliance between England and any other nation. The King of Spain wooed her, as did the Prince of Sweden and the Archduke of Austria. She politely refused them all. The great diplomatic issue of Elizabeth's day was poised by the revolt of the Flemish and Dutch lowlands, which were then possessions of Spain. Should England break its alliance with Spain and choose France as its main ally on the continent, thereby encouraging Flemish and Dutch independence? By 1570, it had come to seem that alliance with France would be England's wisest choice. France had two eligible men of noble blood, the Duke of Anjou and Alençon, brothers of the French king. With either of them marry Elizabeth, both had advantages, and Elizabeth kept the hopes of both alive. The issue simmered for years. The Duke of Anjou made several visits to England, kissed Elizabeth in public, even called her by pet names. She appeared to requite his affections. Meanwhile, she flirted with the two brothers. A treaty was signed that sealed the peace between France and England. By 1582, Elizabeth felt she could break off the courtship. In case the Duke of Anjou in particular, she did so with great relief. For the sake of diplomacy, she had allowed herself to be courted by a man whose presence she could not stand and whom she found physically repulsive. Once peace between France and England was secure, she dropped the Duke as politely as she could. By this time, Elizabeth was too old to bear children. She was accordingly able to live the rest of her life as she desired and died the Virgin Queen. Wow. She left no direct heir, but ruled through a period of incomparable peace and cultural fertility. I never knew that. Elizabeth had good reason not to marry. She had witnessed the mistakes of Mary, Queen of Scots, her cousin, resisting the idea of being ruled by a woman. The Scots expected Mary to marry and marry wisely. To wed a foreigner would be unpopular. To favor any particular noble house would open up terrible rivalries. In the end, Mary chose Lord Darnley, a Catholic. In doing so, she incurred the wrath of Scotland's Protestants, and endless turmoil ensued. Elizabeth knew that marriage can often lead to a female ruler's undoing. By marrying and committing to an alliance with one party or nation, the queen became embroiled in conflicts that are not of her choosing, conflicts which may eventually overwhelm her or lead into a feudal war. Also, the husband becomes the de facto ruler and often tries to do away with his wife, the queen. So Darnley tried to get rid of Mary. Elizabeth learned the lesson well. She had two goals as a ruler: to avoid marriage and to avoid war. She managed to combine these goals by dangling the possibility of marriage in order to forge alliances. Damn, that was smart. The moment she committed to any single suitor would have been the moment she lost her power. She had to eliminate mystery and desirability, never discouraging anyone's hope, but never yielding. Through this lifelong game of flirting and withdrawing, Elizabeth dominated the country, and every man who sought to conquer her as the center of attention, she was in control. Keeping her independence above all, Elizabeth protected her power and made herself an object of worship. Since power depends greatly on appearances, you must learn the tricks that will enhance your image. Refusing to commit to a person or group is one of these. When you hold yourself back, you incur not anger, but a kind of respect. You instantly seem powerful because you make yourself ungraspable. rather than succumbing to the group or to the relationship as most people do. This aura of power only grows with time. As you as your reputation for independence grows, more and more people will come to desire you, wanting to be the one who gets you to commit. Desire is like a virus. If we see that someone is desired by other people, we tend to find this person desirable too. The moment you commit, the magic is gone. That's a fact. You become like everyone else. People will try all kinds of underhanded methods to get you to commit. They will give you gifts, shower you with favors, all to put you under obligation. Encourage the attention, stimulate their interest, but do not commit at any cost. Accept the gifts and favors if you desire, but be careful to maintain your inner aloofness. You cannot inadvertently allow yourself to feel obligated to anyone. Remember, though, the goal is not to put people off or to make it seem like you are incapable of commitment. Like the Virgin Queen, you need to stir the pot, excite interest, lure people with possibility of having you. You have to bend to their attention occasionally and then never too far. Wow, that is good, good, good. Do not let people drag you into petty fights and squabbles. Seem interested and supportive, but find a way to remain neutral. Let others do the fighting while you stand back, watch, and wait. When the fighting parties are good and tired, they will be right for your picking. You can make it practice, in fact, to stir up quarrels between other people and then offer to mediate, gaining power as the go-between. I'm not going to read all this. Isabella's first true test as a ruler came in 1498 when King Louis the 12th of France was preparing armies to attack Milan. In their usual fashion, the Italian states immediately looked for ways to profit from Milan's difficulties. Pope Alexander VI promised not to intervene, thereby giving the French carte blanche. The Venetians signaled that they would not help Milan either. In exchange for this, they hoped the French would give them Mantua. The ruler of Milan, Lodovico Sforza, suddenly found himself alone and abandoned. He turned to Isabella, one of his closest friends, and begged her to persuade Duke Gonzaga to come to his aid. Isabella tried, but her husband balked, for he saw Sforza's cause as hopeless. And so in 1499, Louis swooped down on Milan and took it at ease. Isabella faced a dilemma. If she stayed loyal to the Vinci, the French would now move against her. But if she instead allied herself with France, she would make enemies elsewhere in Italy, compromising Mantua once Louise eventually withdrew. And if she looked to Venice or Rome for help, they would simply swallow up Mantua under the cloak of coming to her aid. Yet she had to do something. The mighty King of France was breathing down her neck. She decided to befriend him, as she had befriended Lodovico, with alluring gifts, witty, intelligent letters, and the possibility of her company. For Isabella was famous as a woman of beauty and charm. In 1500, Louis invited Isabella to a great party in Milan to celebrate his victory. Leonardo da Vinci built an enormous lion for their fair. When the lion opened its mouth, it spewed fresh lilies, the symbols of French royalty. At the party, Isabella wore one of her celebrated dresses. And just as she hoped, she charmed and captivated Louis, who ignored all the other ladies vying for her attention. She soon became his constant companion. In exchange for her friendship, he pledged to protect Mantua's independence from Venus. Yeah, Venus. No. Venus, yeah, Venice, yeah. Isabella understood Italy's political situation with amazing clarity. Once you took the side of any of the forces in the field, you were doomed. The powerful would take you over, the weak would wear you down. Any new alliance would lead to a new enemy, and as the cycle stirred up more conflict, other forces would be dragged in until you could no longer extricate yourself. Eventually, you would collapse from exhaustion. Isabella stirred her kingdom on the only course that would bring her safely through. She would now allow herself to lose her head through loyalty to a duke or a king, nor would she try to stop the conflict. And in any case, the conflict was to her advantage, and various parties were fighting to death and exalting themselves. In the process, there were no positions to gobble up Mantua. The source of Isabella's power was her clever ability to seem interested in the affairs and interests of each other, which actually committed to no one but herself and her kingdom. Once you step into a fight that is not of your own choosing, you lose all initiative. The combatants' interests become your interests. You become their tool. Learn to control yourself, to restrain your natural tendency to take sides and join the fight. Be friendly and charming to each of the combatants, then step back as they collide. With every battle, they grow weaker, while you grow stronger with every battle to avoid. Damn, that's good. That is good. That is good. To succeed in the game of power, you have to master your emotions. That is a fact. But even if you succeed in gaining such self-control, you can never control the temporal dispositions of those around you. And this presents a great danger. Most people operate in a whirlwind of emotions. They do. Constantly reacting, churning up squabbles and conflicts. Your self-control and autonomy will only bother and infuriate them. They will try to draw you into the whirlpool, begging you to take sides in their endless battles or to make peace for them. If you succumb to their emotional intricacies, little by little, you will find your mind and time occupied by their problems. Do not allow whatever compassion and pity you possess to suck you in. You can never win in the game. The conflicts can only multiply. On the other hand, you cannot completely stand aside, for that would cause needless offense. To play the game properly, you must seem interested in other people's problems, even sometimes appear to take their side. But while you make outward gestures of support, you must maintain your inner energy and sanctity by keeping your emotions disengaged. No matter how hard people try to pull you in, never let your interest in their affairs and petty squabbles go beyond the surface. Give them gifts. Listen with sympathetic look, even occasionally play the charmer, but inwardly keep both the friendly kings and at arm's length. By refusing to commit and thus maintaining your autonomy, you retain the initiative. Your moves stay matters of your own choosing, not defensive reactions to the push and pull of those around you. Damn, I like this. Slowness to pick up your weapons can be a weapon itself, especially if you let other people exhaust themselves fighting, then take advantage of their exhaustion. Preserving your autonomy gives you options. When people come to blows, you can play the mediator, broker the peace, while really securing your own interests. You can pledge support to one side and the other may have to court you to a higher bid. Oftentimes, when conflict breaks out, you are tempted to side with the stronger party or the one that offers you advantages in an alliance. This is risky business. First, it's often difficult to foresee which side will prevail in the long run. But even if you guess right and allow yourself with stronger party, you may find yourself swallowed up and lost, or conveniently forgotten when they become victors. Side with the weaker, on the other hand, and you are doomed. But play a waiting game and you cannot lose. Oh, that was good. Finally, there are occasions. Oh, I need to do something with my hair. Finally, there are occasions when it's wise to drop all pretense of appearing supportive and instead to triumph to your independence and self-reliance. The aristocrat pose that independence is particularly important for those who need to gain respect. Remember, you have only so much energy and so much time. Every moment wasted on the affairs of others subtracts from your strength. You may be afraid that people will condemn you as heartless, but in the end, maintaining your independence and self-reliance will gain you more respect and place you in a position of power from which you can choose to help others on your own initiative. Let me see. Both parts of this law will turn against you if you take it too far. The game proposed here is delicate and difficult. If you play too many parties against one another, they will see through the maneuver and will gang up on you. If you keep growing numbers of suitors waiting too long, you inspire not desire but distrust. People will start to lose interest. Eventually, you may find it worthwhile to commit to one side, if only for an appearance, to prove you are capable of an attachment. Even then, however, the key will be to maintain your inner dependence, to keep yourself from getting emotionally involved, preserve the unspoken option of being able to leave at any moment and reclaim your freedom if the side you are allied with starts to collapse. The friends you made while you were being courted will give you plenty of places to go once you jump ship. That was good. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment.